I am not a fan of modern N64 replacement controllers. But to explain why I don't like them, let's first talk about the original. So, the N64 controller was weird, wasn't it? But of course it was. 3D gaming was in its infancy, and everyone tried to figure out how to do it properly during that console generation. Nintendo's idea was to accentuate their analog stick, which was very much a new concept at the time, by giving it its own handle and its own trigger button. And while it made the controller look like a guy spreading his legs and presenting his, analog stick, this also had the side effect of making the N64 controller compatible with ambidextrous controller settings in first-person games. Many shooters allowed you to choose right-handed or left-handed controls, so you could hold it like this and walk with your left thumb while aiming with your right thumb, or hold it this way and do it the other way around. And indeed, almost all N64 first-person shooters allowed for controls like these. Some of you might already get a hunch of what this video is about. Yes, I think it's an absolute wasted opportunity that basically all these modern replacement controllers go for a Dreamcast-like layout. This Dreamcast-like layout makes playing Perfect Dark or Turok in this configuration, which is the closest one to modern shooter controls, impossible. This will not be an issue for some left-handed people who aim with their left thumb anyways, but it will be very much an issue for nearly all right-handed players and even most left-handed ones who got used to aiming with their right thumb over the years. It seems that manufacturers like Retro Fighters and others are largely scared to go with the original design of the N64 controller, because they fear most people these days don't want a controller with a girthy third leg. Sure, maybe they are right, but that's not the only way to make a modern N64 controller that is compatible with these shooter controls. There are two ways that I see that would allow for this. 1. Having an analog stick in the center of the controller that can be reached by both hands. Now, admittedly, this looks stupid, but it could work, right? Hori did it with a D-pad for some reason, so just swap these and done. Okay, scrap that. Idea number 2 would be to just have two analog sticks, like any other modern controller. If you play Mario 64 or Zelda, you can just ignore the right analog stick even being there. You could make it a bit smaller like the C-stick of the GameCube, so that it's not in the way. But then, whenever you want to play one of the first-person shooters the N64 was famous for, just flip the switch, and now your left stick is mapped to the D-pad, and your right stick is mapped to, well, the stick. And off you go, playing GoldenEye or Turok 3 with what are basically modern shooter controls. So, that is my idea for you Retro Fighters, and Hori, and all the other ones that make modern N64 replacement controllers. The N64 is home to iconic first-person shooters, and I think they deserve better than to be limited in their controls by your redesigns, with only a single stick on the left of the controller. This switch could also have another mode where the right stick gets mapped to the C buttons, so that games that use them for the camera could also feel more modern by having the camera on the right stick. That refusal to accommodate N64 shooters really drifts my stick, but this concludes my complaining for today.
Shutting down.